Pope Francis is dead and the Catholic Church will shortly convene a conclave to choose his successor. But who are the possible contenders?
Russia has struck Zaporizhzhia and Odessa less than 24 hours after the Easter ceasefire declared by Russia ended.
The US and India have hailed making progress on trade talks as the two nations look to further strengthen their relationship.
US President Donald Trump has the back of his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth one more time after a second signal chat scandal is unraveled, while all allegations go undenied.
Throughout Monday afternoon into Tuesday, people have continued gathering in St. Peter's Square following the news of the death of Pope Francis. Mourners have been placing flowers, candles at different locations around the area. The Pope's funeral will be held on Saturday at 10 a.m., a date confirmed by the College of Cardinals that convened at the Vatican on a Tuesday. The ceremony is expected to draw leaders from around the world. And speculation is also growing over who could be the next pope. The majority of the 135 cardinal electors, those under the age of 80, has been appointed by Pope Francis. And with no clear front runner, the next Pope will shape the future of the Roman Catholic Church, whether it will take a more progressive or conservative direction. And meanwhile, the Italian government has declared a 5-day period of national mourning following the death of the pontiff. Giorgio Orlandi for Euronews in the Vatican.
After a 9-day mourning period and funeral for Pope Francis, the Catholic Church will convene the next conclave. Here, the College of Cardinals will gather to elect the Church's next head. 4 rounds of voting are held each day until a cardinal secures a 2/3 majority. But who are the possible contenders to become the next pontiff? Hungarian Cardinal Peter Erdő, the Archbishop of Budapest, is considered a strong candidate. He twice led the Council of European Episcopal Conferences, evidence of his support amongst European cardinals, the largest voting bloc. Germany's Reinhard Marx made headlines when he offered to resign as Archbishop to atone for the German Church's deep failures in handling abuse. Pope Francis rejected the resignation and told him to stay, but conservatives remain sceptical of him. Mark Olett of Canada led the Vatican's influential bishop's office for over a decade, overseeing the vetting of episcopal candidates worldwide. He's seen as more conservative than Pope Francis. Italian Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Pope Francis's Secretary of State since 2015, is widely seen as a leading contender, given his senior role in the Vatican hierarchy. As a former ambassador to Venezuela, Parolin knows the Latin American Church well. An American pope has long been seen as unlikely, given the US's geopolitical power, but Chicago-born Robert Prevost could break that taboo. He's the current prefect of the Vatican's dicastery for bishops, in charge of vetting nominations from around the world. Ghanaian Robert Serra was long considered to have the best chance of becoming the first African pope. Favoured by conservatives, Serra represents a return to the style of John Paul II and Benedict XVI. Austrian Cardinal Christoph Schönborn was a student of Pope Benedict's and on paper has the intellectual credentials to appeal to conservatives. But he has drawn criticism from within the Vatican for challenging its past inaction against high-ranking abusers. Filipino Luis Tagle would appear to be Pope Francis's pick for the first Asian pontiff. Francis brought him to Rome to lead the Church's missionary office, serving much of Asia and Africa. As the conclave approaches, the world waits to see who will lead the Catholic Church into its next chapter.
Christian Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank mourned the death of Pope Francis, who had consistently supported their plight throughout his papacy, but especially in the last 18 months of his life amid the war in Gaza.
We were very sad to hear that Pope Francis died. He was our Pope, not just our Pope, he was our brother, our friend, our dear friend for Bethlehem. He always gave us a big hope. He told us that you are not alone.
In Gaza, a mass was held in the enclave's only Catholic church on Monday. Since the outbreak of the war, the Pope would frequently call the church to check up on the nearly 600 people sheltering inside.
البابا فرانسيس محبوب جدا وهو قريب جدا من جماعة مسيحية غزة ومش فقط جماعة مسيحية غزة لكل سكان غزة ولكل الأرض المقدسة. هو اتصل معنا آخر مرة يوم السبت سبت النور يعني قبل يومين وهو طلب منا الصلاة وهو أعطانا البركة وشكرنا من شان كل الخدمة من أجل السلام.
Pope Francis prayed for an end to the war in Gaza until his final hours. In his last public appearance on Easter Sunday, he renewed his plea for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, expressing his closeness to the suffering of Christians in Palestine and Israel.
At least one person was killed and 24 others injured after Russia launched 2 aerial glide bombs on the city of Zaporizhzhia.
Я була на роботі, я прийшла, мене визвали додому. Ну, я прийшла, просто мені сказали, що погибла жінка з 8-го етажа, Наташа, дуже чудова жінка, дуже. Ми іноді розмовляли там, общалися. А так гарна жінка, жалко, просто ужас.
Во время взрыва я был в комнате, когда волнул взрыв, оконной рамой.
The strike followed shortly after Odessa had come under massive attack by Russian drones overnight. Local emergency authorities said a residential building in a densely populated urban area, civilian infrastructure, and an education facility were hit in the attack. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky had called for a halt in strikes on civilian facilities. A Kremlin spokesperson said that while Russia is prepared to consider the proposal, there are currently no planned talks and reaching such an agreement could take time. After Russian President Putin declared a ceasefire on Saturday, Ukraine said it was ready to reciprocate but said Russian attacks were continuing.
20 tourists have died after a fatal shooting in India-controlled Kashmir, say authorities. 4 gunmen, 2 of whom have been described as militants by the police, fired at dozens of tourists from close range on Tuesday. At least 36 other people are injured, many in serious condition. Kashmir has seen a spate of targeted killings of Hindus since New Delhi ended the region's semi-autonomous status in 2019. US President J.D. Vance and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi have hailed making positive progress in talks over a trade deal after a meeting in New Delhi. The pair discussed improved bilateral cooperation in various areas such as energy, defense, and technology. Vance praised Modi and said that the 2 countries had finalized the terms of reference for trade talks. He also added that if these were to fail, it would be, quote, a dark time for humanity.
And so today I come here with a simple message.
According to US official data, the United States is India's main trading partner, with bilateral trade between the 2 countries valued at €113 billion in 2024. They are now aiming to increase this figure to $436 billion by 2030.
The White House defended Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on Monday over a new signal messaging scandal. Reports on Sunday detailed a second chat where Hegseth allegedly shared sensitive military data with family members. Significantly, neither the White House nor Hegseth denied the report's core claims. Instead, President Donald Trump said Hegseth was doing a great job and that he was removing, quote, bad people from the Pentagon. Trump also dismissed the story as fake news and nothing new.
Are you bringing up Signal again? I thought they gave that up 2 weeks ago. Just the same old stuff from the media. That's an old one. Try finding something new.
Hegseth himself attacked the media and leakers, vowing to continue his reforms at the Department of Defense.
And what a big surprise that a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax. Won't give back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. This is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me.
The second chat reportedly contains similar sensitive information to a previously revealed chat involving top officials, which is already under investigation.
This is why we're fighting.
Democrats, led by Senator Schumer, are demanding that Hegseth be fired over the repeated security concerns.
This group, no.
The controversy unfolds amid wider Pentagon turmoil, including the recent departure of several senior aides to Hegseth.
And then you put it all together as if it's some news story.